All right, as marketers, we know we have to make a lot of different decisions. And a lot of times we base those decisions on some kind of outside information or data. So what kinds of data can we use to guide our decision making? Well, a lot of times we just use what's called secondary data. In other words, data that's already available or on hand. That secondary data can come from the internet. We all use the internet to find out different things in our daily lives. Well, marketers do the same thing. The internet's a powerful source of information or secondary data. Other times, we look at company records, which is another form of secondary data. We generate sales records and all sorts of other data points in our normal operation. Well, that data can be useful in making decisions as well. Sometimes, though, we have to go outside of the company, and that's where public records can come in handy. The U.S. government and other organizations out there track a lot of information and data. They create a lot of data just by keeping up with what's going on. A lot of times that information or data is available to us in public records. That's a really useful source for guiding us in making decisions as well. Sometimes, though, the data that we need or the information that we need to come up with is not available already. In that case, we have to get what's called primary data. This is data that we go out and gather ourselves. Now, there's some different ways that we can gather that data. We can ask questions. Surveys and things of that nature allow us to gather primary data all the time. We all know there are a lot of surveys out there, and sometimes we take them and sometimes we don't. When we do, that creates what's called primary data. Another source of primary data is checkout scanners. So you may not realize this, but every time you buy something in a store, that's creating data. So every time that item crosses over the scanner, somebody's tracking that data, the store in particular. So that's another important and valuable source of primary data. Lastly, we can just observe what happens around us. By making observations, we can generate primary data without even necessarily having to talk to anyone else or use any sort of scanner. So those are three different ways that we can generate our own data or create what's called primary data. When we're making decisions as marketers, we often have to rely on secondary or primary data just to make sure that we make the right choice.